Hello and welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing podcast, where we are going to look at the last 2 days of the Welcome to Yorkshire Ebor Festival. And we're going to start with Saturday, then jump back to the day which we're recording this, which is Friday. That all makes sense, I know. So we're going to start with Sky Bet Ebor, Melrose, and then best bets on the day on Saturday, then jump back to Friday. If it's Friday you want, skip forward halfway through this video. There we go. The lads with me are Declan, Ricks, and Micheál, Deasy. Lovely to see you again, Rixie. How's things? How's the week been so far?
Yeah, it's been good, very enjoyable. Any week you've got an Ebor running is a good week. So and any week she's winning is a good week. So yeah, no, yesterday was although she was winning at prohibitive odds, it was yesterday was good. So hope to continue the good vein of form into the last 2 days.
Dees, how have you got on? How have you found it, obviously being such a big cricket fan with the Ashes third test been going on? Have you found it easy to focus on the racing? In fact, can we get your 10-second Ashes roundup? Go.
Ashes roundup, Joffer Archer, fantastic. Took 6. Maybe the wicket will turn.
Great stuff. Thanks, DC. That's absolutely brilliant. Don't forget to tune in next week for DC's thoughts on the Ashes. He's the biggest cricket fan going. Week been good though, Dees?
Oh yeah, great crack. Actually, York is brilliant. Wishing I was over there. We got to go to a meeting earlier in the year. It was absolutely fantastic being over there. Looks amazing over there. It was great racing this week, isn't it?
It is, for me, up there with one of the best racecourses in the world, and of course one of the best in the country. I think it's absolutely brilliant, York, and I've loved it so far. Right, Ebor time. A new shape to the race this year, of course, because you've got that huge injection of cash into it, which has changed the shape of the race slightly. You had to be 102 to get into it last year, I think. You've got to be a bit higher than that, 105 plus, really, to get into it this year. And you've got to be a proper group horse in there. If I can, I'll lead off just quickly before we get into the prices with these, purely because on the Matchbook Racing review we did back the Monday before last, I put up Barsanti as a horse to back anti-post, and he was 34.0. So hopefully Dees is going to tell me I've scrounged a little bit of value there. Not that it's going to be huge, I don't think, but he's a course winner. His last win, in fact, his last 2 wins came in handicaps at York, and I think he's £2 higher than the last of those. He hasn't quite cut it in Pattern Company subsequently, but he doesn't always get the type of test he needs. He's got blinkers on for the first time. And I still think, hand on heart, is he a certain winner? Well, no, but he's priced accordingly. But I still think he's worth a play here. I think he's an interesting horse. And I wonder if they'll have had this in mind for him this year, just because he wants that strong handicap pace, and he's going to get that here. Blinkers for the first time might help. So with that in mind, Dees, what are we looking at price-wise for Barsanti? And then turn your attention back towards the top of the market if you can.
Barsanti is 30.0. That's 30 for our UK customers. 30.0. So you got a small bit of value, Tommy.
Woo!
Yeah, 4.0. Not too bad. Yeah, he's down in at the bottom of it. So I'll go from the top. So King's Advice and Withhold are joint favourites at 8.8. Raheen House is 9.4. Bren Vraki is 11.0. Then you have Mekong is 16.5. Baghdad is 19.0. Weekender is 25.0. Red Verdon is 32.0. Kelly's Dino is 26.0. Sorry, these aren't in order here now. True Self is 30.0. And then there's loads and then at bigger prices.
Right, Dees, what with regard to what we've said about towards the top of the market and then those chunkier prices, where are you looking? I mean, do you think it is a bit of a bum fight for those towards the top of the market, Rick?
Yeah, I have 2 picked out, one kind of near the top and one kind of near the bottom. So Raheen House, I think he's been well tipped by everyone at this stage now. But I actually backed him for the year. He ran in the Ledger. I saw him when I think it was at Newmarket at over 1 mile 5. I thought this is the perfect distance for this horse. I thought he was when he was a Brian. He's obviously moved to William Haggis now. Has had 2 runs over at York. Travelled like an absolute machine on his first run back. Just didn't quite get there. I think he's, like as many of them have, he's been laid out for this. I think that near the top of the market, he's about 9.4. I think he has a great chance. I think he'll be my main bet in it. And the other one I've picked out then is Raymond Tusk. He's in there at 27.0. This horse has never really been given an easy race. He's always been thrown in the deep, and I think his debut might have been a class 4 something. But after that, then he was thrown in against Roaring Lion on his third run. He started off the season giving DXB a race, giving him weight. I think he's down in trip here. I think this could be his first handicap. I think he's a fairly high class horse in here, and I think at a big enough price, he's definitely worth a small win bet and a good place bet.
Raymond Tusk is a chunky enough price for Richard Hannon. Jamie Spencer rides, and Raheem House, who back on the 21st of April, Rixie, finished ahead of a certain Enable at Newbury, and the rest is history. What do you like in the race, Declan?
It's look, as you'd expect for the money that's on it. It's pretty competitive. I thought Weekender was interesting, last year's winner. I think he's actually a pound lower despite winning the race last year. And I looked at him and put 2 and 2 together when I saw Frankie was riding one of John Goslin's other horses, and that kind of swayed me. And that's obviously Ben Brackey, who was a very good second in the Duke of Edinburgh handicap at Royal Ascot not too long ago. He then tried to back up relatively quickly at Newmarket, and he flopped as a 3-1 favourite. But I suspect maybe after a big run at Royal Ascot that race potentially left a mark on him. I think he's had 43 days to freshen up now. I can't see the track being any problem to him or the trip. So despite him having a bad draw, I just thought, Frankie usually gets these decisions right more than wrong, and I'm sure he'd like to win whatever it is, that 600,000 first prize or whatever. Still pennies to Frankie, but it's nice to be nice to win it all the same. So yeah, look, I thought it wouldn't be a strong bet, but I just thought with Frankie riding Ben Brackey, he'd probably be the one to be. I do rate that Duke of Edinburgh form. I think is very strong.
Weekender, I know you mean was second last year, just before all those trolls come out, lay into you, Rixie, because
Mutaha, was it?
Yeah. Get straight after you because you give they'll jump all over you.
No, they should jump over me after that. To be fair, thank you for correcting me.
But that was that ridiculous, that unbelievable ride from Crowley on Muntaha, who 1-2 for John Gosden. Not a big go for you at Ben Brackey then, just a sort of a filter, if you like.
No, I just the draw is a little bit off-putting. I've just gone down and looked at the race. Withhold likes to go forward and Wells Fargo likes to go forward. I'm not sure it's going to be a very strong run race. And I think he'd like a strong run race, especially from the draw if he gets behind, because he can be a little slow away from the gates, and that, just as we all know in races that are slowly run, if you're at the back of the field, you've got literally no chance. So just if it happens to transpire that they go gallop, I'd be a little bit stronger. But just on paper, you can't be sure at the moment. So it'd be a fairly tepid win selection for me on Ben Brackey.
Fair dues. Who is a similar sort of price to those right towards the top of the market. I'd love to see King's Advice win it just because he is such a game, gutsy, lovely horse with his head carriage, etc. But I'm going to stick with Barsanti, and the other horse I did like was the other one that Deasy's mentioned, Raheem House, who I think has probably had this in mind for quite some time. Earlier on the day is the Melrose. We thought we'd just go for probably the 2 hardest races of the day, just for fun. Go on, Rixie, you kick us off with this one. You've got first in line in there for John Gosden and Frankie Dettori, Shock Horror. Eminence is right towards the top of the betting, and Almania's not too far away either. Universal Order, etc. Land of Oz, and then you get into some bigger prices. Where are you looking first of all for the Melrose? I think we found the winner of this on the podcast last year, but we're going to try and do the same. Rixie, over to you.
I'm a lot more warm on this one than I was the last one, and it's trained by William Muir. The horse is called Just Hubert, a son of Dunaden, who I think connections are actually harbouring dreams of running in the Melbourne Cup. Maybe not this year, maybe the year after. But I liked what he did at Sandown there the last day. The way he picked up and galloped on. And then I thought once he got to the front about a furlong out, and I thought he just put the brakes on and he started to wander around a little bit. Just kind of the horse of Frankie's, who I think is favourite first in line, he's stepping up a full half a mile in trip, obviously going up in grade. The O'Brien horse, Eminence, I think is a nice horse. He's pretty solid. I was actually looking at his pedigree last night. His dam is related to Shane's Hill. So I think the step up in trip should be, or he's from the family of Shane's Hill. So obviously, proper national hunt blood there, which I'm sure Deasy will be delighted to hear. And he's by obviously a salmon influence and see the star. So him going up in trip could be a big positive for him. But I just thought they were probably, all fairly handy. I thought Hubert was the kind of horse who looked to save a bit for himself the last day. And I liked the way he picked up from off the home bend at Sandown, and he quickened up and he got to the front of furlong out and he kind of put the brakes on. And those kind of horses, I just like those who save a bit for themselves. It's harder for the handicapper to get a full hold on them, and I think the form looks solid. Now look, he goes up in class today, so he's going to have to improve again. But PG McConroy York's fairly well. William Muir has got his horses in good order, and I think at about 16 to 1 or maybe bigger, I thought he was kind of an each way play for me in this race.
William Muir was on Racing TV with Lydia Hislop before Just Hubert won last time at Sandown, and he was very, very confident about the horse running a good race. No, William Muir is quite often very confident about, and I remember watching thinking, he fancies another one. And he was absolutely spot on. And of course, this horse finished third behind Logician, a few starts, 1-2 for William Muir on that occasion. So he could still be well treated. What sort of price is he, Dees?
Just Hubert is 19.5.
Done.
Next race. Let's go. Move.
Where are you looking, DC? Any aside from Just Hubert, any strong fancy in the race or not necessarily?
I do, yeah. I fancy Kiefer. I thought that he looks like he is dying out for an extra bit of yardage. He's been running over a mile and a half all season, really. He hit the ground hit the line very hard last time out. Now he was in third. It takes him a while to get going, but he is a great burst of pace. He was beaten by a neck to your favourite horse in training, Desert Icon, Tom, at Salisbury earlier in the season. I think that an extra 2 furlongs will suit him down to the ground. I think he's in there he's about 9.0 at the moment. Happy enough with that. I think that he can run a big race.
And I will tie it up with saying a small play on Sky Max is how I'll do it. He had blinkers on for the first time last time, and speaking to Rafe Beckett afterwards, he said that he's a very good horse and they'd completely got it wrong so far. If you look at his form last year with the Max We Can and Cap Francais, etc., he looks a well-treated horse. He was gelded in the off-season and then he came back this year and has definitely been disappointing. My slight issue is whether he has to go forward. Rafe Beckett said he didn't have to go forward last time, but that remains to be seen. But I think you can get double figures about Sky Max as well. So I'll be playing that small, but it wouldn't be a hand on heart, big old go if you like. Are we happy with the Melrose? Anything to add?
No, just in terms of pace, your horse Sky Max, him and the Mark Johnson horse, I think Rochester House, I think his name is. The two of those I think are kind of below in speed in the race. So your lad could get a fairly easy time of it up in front. So as we've seen a couple of races from York this week, horses kind of on the pace, maybe more so on the straight track, have been hard to peg back there. I think there's been a bit of a tailwind. So it'll be interesting to see just how conditions are. If that wind stays there and if the ground keeps getting quicker and quicker, those horses who like to race on the pace are probably going to be favoured a little bit more.
I think I'm going to second that massively on the straight track. I think that's a big thing. The round track, I know Enable did it, but I think definitely straight track that's well worth paying attention to, but because of where the wind has been so far. But I worry for Sky Max I don't know. I always have a niggle on the round course and over handicaps if they do go forward. So I don't know. I don't know how I want them to ride it. We'll see. It's only a small play. Any other business on the day on Saturday, guys? Be it from York or anywhere else. Rixie, have you got any other plays, any other horses you want to flag up?
I haven't looked at about the videos of about 25 horses. I'm afraid I've got nothing else left. I'll have to do that work. The rest of that work tonight, unfortunately. I had a look. A good look at those two races, and I'm no good to you on the rest of the card, unfortunately.
DC, anything else you wanted to flag up for Saturday's racing?
I do. I have Speaking Colours in the 7 furlong races, the City of York Stakes. I thought he was horribly unlucky at Goodwood. I was the only one in the office back to him. Everyone else went back to Rixie's tip, Sir Dancelot. So I was raging that day, but I thought he was blocked 2 or 3 times. He stuck it on the rail. He never got a good run. I think 7 furlongs would really suit him. He's a chunk enough price. You're going to get about 8.0 or 9.0 on him tomorrow. So I think he has a great chance in the City of York Stakes. I think.
And I will flag up Iconic Night at Windsor. If you fancy a fun one in the 550. I put him up last time at a chunky old price at York, and he's back over a course and distance where he's won at before. His last win came over this course and distance on quick ground. He wants a bit of a meltdown. I don't know he's definitely going to get it, but Rixie, talking about making all at York, well, on the straight course, Tricky Dicky did it in the race. That Iconic Night was really the only one to give him a run for his money from a little bit further back. He's up £1, and I still think he's worth siding with. But I don't know what price he is. He won't be too far from the top of the market, given that he's back at Windsor, but I'll certainly have him on side. Best bets time. What do we think, guys? Who wants to kick us off? Best bets. Who wants to go first? Rixie, you're looking keen. Who have we got for Saturday afternoon best bets?
I think Just Huber. I like Just Huber at the price. I think he's overpriced. And I think kind of given, with all due respect to William Muir, it kind of, if someone else was training him, he might be a little bit shorter. But, as punters, that can often work in our favour. So I thought 16s was big about a horse who was keeping a bit back for himself. So, yeah, I'll put up Just Huber.
That's Just Huber in the Melrose. Dease, best bet for Saturday?
I'll go Raheen House in the Ebor.
Raheen House. Solid. And I am going to go to Windsor with Iconic Night, just because I don't want to put up Barsanti at a big old price, and I can't hand on heart say he's the most likely winner of the race. So Iconic Night for me at Windsor. That's it for Saturday. Well done, lads. We'll get stuck into Friday's action now, which is the day we're recording this. So Friday at York, we've got an absolutely belting day's racing between the Nunthorpe, the Gimcrack, and then the Stayers as well, with Stradivarius back looking to win that £1 million bonus. They should probably just give it to him at the start of the season. It'd save everyone a lot of nervous energy. But let's get stuck into the Nunthorpe first of all. Dease, this is being pitched a little bit as sort of a Batash versus 10 Sovereigns. I know it's not quite as simple as that, but it is a fascinating race, given that you've got 10 Sovereigns back in trip. You've got Batash, who has tried twice to win an Nunthorpe, where on paper I'd have thought that this would be the perfect course and distance for him, but there's something about York which doesn't seem to suit. How does the market have it, first of all?
So 10 Sovereigns is solid at the top all week at 2.74. Batash is 3.25. Mabs Cross is 6.4. Then you have Fairland at 13.5. Soldier's Call is 19.0, and then you have big prices the rest then.
Go on, you can kick us off. Who have you had a bet in the race? Will you have a bet in the race? Who do you like most?
Back 10 Sovereigns last week. We were kind of, I know a fella who knows a fella who knows a fella, that kind of thing, and they vibes out of Ballydoyle are that 10 Sovereigns should win this. They think he's going to win it fairly easily. They don't think to drop to 5 is any problem to him. He's still doing those 11-second furlongs, so they're very, very sweet in them. So I didn't get any value. He's probably the same price now, around the same price now as when I backed him. But I just backed him on that, just in the word. It's a very interesting race. There was one or two I was looking at bigger prices. I was looking at Garris, but there's been a massive drift on him, and the market has generally led the right way with the Charlie Hills horses this week when they've drifted. So I've been put off him. So I might have a small play on Soldier's Call, who was beaten by Garris at York when I was over there 2 months ago. Nice horse. I think he's 19.0. He had a good run there at Ascot. He's 3-all. He's getting a few of the allowances. I think at 19.0 he's well worth a place bet, and maybe a small win bet as well, just to keep things interesting.
Rixie, do you know the same man that Deasy knows? The friend of a friend of a friend who knows a man who knows a man?
I'm not sure. I think we all have connections like that, yeah, but I don't know.
You should have better connections to Ballydoyle than me, Rixie. You were should have been tight there for a few years.
You should have told me. I could have give Aidan a ring there, and I got the low down. But
Send him a text there, no.
It's you who Aidan's on the phone to after every race, Rixie.
Yeah.
yes, correct. Yeah, it's not his mother at all.
Yeah.
It's Declan.
It's a lovely man.
What do you think, Rixie? Off you go. Where are you looking? Top of the market?
Yeah, look, this is a fascinating race. You know, I think in Batash on his day is an absolute monster. You know, he's a bit. The problem with him is he's a bit inconsistent. The last 2 times he's come to York, he's probably run the bones of a stone below his best, which is not good. But, and there's a massive caveat this year, a big one. The last 2 times he's come to York, he's travelled overnight and he stayed overnight at the track. This year, they're going to travel him up on the day. So, you know, he's not, as we all know, he's not a straightforward horse. I think he was gelded as a 2-year-old because he was an absolute lunatic. Gelding operation has done him the world of good. You know, he's got his own little things at home that he likes. He liked Charlie Hills has been kind of keen to stress that he likes routine. You know, likes his own bed, likes to speed at certain times, etc., etc. And I just wonder, is he the type of horse? Because you know, these sprinters are a big bundle of energy, kind of nervous energy, and they explode. And you just wonder, is he kind of running his race the night before in the stable? If that sounds, I know that might sound crazy to some people, which is fair enough. But I'd put it like this, Tom. You are now staying in a hotel in Yorkshire, away from your lovely bed. Do you think maybe your performance on RTV this week has been a little bit below par than it would be if you were travelling to the local track? Or is it still being good?
I think that's a very good point, actually. Very good point. If
Yeah,
I was train up and back every day, I'd be much more on form. All those local distractions
yes, all that local ale, terrible.
lead you astray.
But yeah, look, that's the kind of thing. They're going to travel him up this time. Look, we know when he's been the bones of a stone below the last time he's come to York. We know he's a better horse than that. He's shown it time and time again. Look, he's a proper 5 furlong horse. I'm going to side with him in the race this year. I think 10 Sovereigns is a horse who last time in the July Cup was pretty wow factor. You know, and I'm always wary of listening to Aidan about selling these potential stallions off. 11-second furlongs, this and that, and you know he's got a great mind and a great constitution and blah blah blah. But he was good in the July Cup. He was very good. But I just wonder, is the drop and trip going to suit him? And the other word I have with him is looking at the pace in the race. Everything looks low and middle, and he's drawn out wide, I think, in 12. And that, I think, could be a combination of that and drop and trip, I think, could potentially get him beaten. So, look, I'm hoping the overnight stay is what's been holding back Batash in this race. So I'm going to put him up this year now that he's travelling up on the day.
I'm going to add one more thing, if I can, to Batash. I agree with everything you said, and he is the absolute Batash when it comes to York, the head wreck horse. As in, the first year it didn't go right because they didn't box him over. I think then they boxed him over the subsequent year to try. Now they're coming up on the day. So all these things making me go. An excuse is never a good thing about a horse who's always towards the top of the betting. But I sort of see so many positives in what you said about him, and also add to the fact he's drawn 1. Now we know that Kevin Blake on ITV on the opening show when Batash ran at the King's Stand made a lot about the fact he's better when he's drawn on a wing. And history proves that. But the stiff 5 at Ascot's never going to be his thing. The flying 5 at York, I think, should be his thing. I quite like he's drawn 1. He's also drawn the other side to where he's been further from the stands the last twice he's been there. So I think there are a lot of positives for Batash coming into the day. But I still have him as this horse which I couldn't confidently at York for whatever reason. Horses for courses is a big thing for me, and I don't know if I could confidently unload on him. But 10 Sovereigns is what I'm getting at. Is I'm finding it. I'd be lying if I said I had an out and out. You know, Deasy is quite 10 Sovereigns camp clearly. Declan, your Batash camp, and I've probably got splinters in my bum because I'm still on the fence between the two of those.
Well, if you pick Maps Cross, one of us will surely have the winner.
I couldn't confidently pick her either.
Okay.
She was a bit below form for me last. She I couldn't find enough excuses at Ascot. Michael Dodd said she almost travelled too well. He'd rather see her off it and scrubbed along to know she's going to finish her race. But I backed Fairyland at Newmarket, and she ran a good race. You know, she tried to come from a little bit, perhaps a little further back than I did, but not really. She was never too far back. I think she could feature, but I tell you what, I might just see where that track wind is that you've mentioned, Rixie. You know, if there is another tailwind, I think it could really change the shape of that. I think it could be a very hard race to get into, and therefore you want to look at the pace and pace maps and what is going to be up there. I mean, 10 Sovereigns is likely to be. So I'll leave you with concrete selections on the race, and I'll probably go at the track and take a view there. But I wouldn't confidently be in either camp at this stage. Where just pace, Rixie, I know you've mentioned it. Who do you think will be in front halfway through the race? Just out of it.
Well, you've got a few kind of speed balls in there. Potash will obviously be up there. El Astronaut, Ornate, Soldier's Call, 10 Sovereigns, if he adapts to the trip. So, but a lot of those horses, all of those horses are all drawn low to middle, and 10 Sovereigns is out wide. So that could be. I know last time he did make the run in front run, but it's always good to race up kind of in the pack, in the peloton. I think it always helps horses, and I just think there's probably enough in the trip and the pace kind of map, how it's mapping out, that to take on 10 Sovereigns. But look, Batash, given his record at York the last two years, can be a confident selection from either. You know, I'm really hanging my hat on the fact that he's travelling up on the day of the race. So look, we'll see what the story is. But I think a lot has been said about his mental state the last couple of years. I think that's been overplayed. Look, he's a bit headstrong, whatever. But look, he's a 5 furlong sprinter. What do you expect? Yeah. So I think that the travelling up on the day, I'm hoping that's going to prove the key to success today.
Let's move on to the Gimcrack, because time isn't with us, and we're not going to cover Stradivarius because we had a chat beforehand, and look, he's great, he's wonderful, but we have no official betting angle into the race, so we're going to swerve that. The Gimcrack is I think a top class renewal. I do have a bet in this, which is Repartee, who's a course and distance winner for Kevin Ryan. He won on debut here. He then went to Newbury and the something Rose Stakes. There we go. I was there and I can't remember it. The Rose Ball. And he'd been freshened up. He'd missed Ascot. Now, the winner of the Gimcrack last year, Emiratiana, also ran in the Rose Bowl, having been freshened up. And I'm certain that Kevin Ryan has always had his eye on this race with this horse. He wasn't too disappointed with what happened in the Rose Bowl. He wasn't given a hard time. He was a beaten 6-4 favourite. It was a bit of a surprise on the day. But I came away from that race thinking, Gimcrack, this horse, absolutely perfect for it. And at 13.0, I'm hoping Deasy. I think he's a bet, and he'd be the one I'm getting stuck into on the day more than any other horse. So absolutely Repartee for me. I've thought it since the 19th of July when he ran in the Rose Bowl. Over to you, Micheál.
Repartee in the Gimcrack for me as well, Tom. I was a bit gutted when you said that. He's 12.5. I had it narrowed down to him and Kevin Ryan's other horse, Abstemious, but I'm going Repartee because I think he got a better draw. He's a bit of money from overnight as well. Very impressive on debut. I agree with everything you said. I think he's a decent bet in this. And Abstemious has been the big overnight mover. He was 21.0 last night, though he's into about 13.0 as well. Kevin Ryan's other horse. So either one of them, I'd be dutching the two of them, I think, for it.
Always love it when you get the stable companion of the one you fancy hammered overnight. Rixie, who do you like?
I'm with Repartee as well, lads.
Oh, we haven't even discussed this.
No, we haven't. The day he won at York, he blew me away, and I was like, oh, that's going on the shortlist for the Coventry Stakes. And I think I tweeted something similar immediately after the race. And then I happen to know a man who knows a man who knows a man in the Kevin Ryan yard, and Coventry was never, ever, ever considered for this horse. So I think you could be right that Kevin Ryan's been eyeing up the Gimcrack. I thought last time out at Newbury, the ground was far too soft for him, way too soft. I think he's going to really enjoy getting back on a much slicker surface today. Kevin Ryan has won 3 of the last 10 Gimcracks. clearly a race that's close to his heart. So yeah, Repartee for me is the bet. Look, I think Threat's going to be tough to beat. Oisin Murphy is a jockey change for Tom Marquand, who has been riding the horse. A shame for Tom to lose a nice ride. His form is clearly the strongest, but he's been beat. I thought at Royal Ascot he was unlucky. He just got far too behind. And then the last day at Goodwood he was drawn on the wing. He didn't get much cover, didn't get much kind of a nice lead, and he was very keen. So I think if Oisin can get him in amongst horses, we might see the true threat. Hannons hold him in very, very high regard. It's anything Richard's been saying about this horse, he's been using the word different. And I remember him using the same kind of language about Barney Roy not too long ago, and he was spot on about that horse. So Threat is it's gonna take a good performance to beat him, but at the price, I think Repartee is the one. I'd also give a good mention to Summer Sands of Richard Fahey's. I think stepping up in trip, getting back on a quicker ground is going to suit him as well. And I'd probably be playing maybe 75% stake on Repartee, and then having 25, just having a little bit on Summer Sands as well.
I'd echo. I think Threat's a really, really good horse in the making, and he did well to win over 5 on debut. I wonder if they bumped into each other on the crossover over in the stables, Mum's Tipple and Threat, and Mum's Tipple just went, still the big lad, are we?
Yeah. There's a new pony in town, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He'd be Chief Threat. That was mighty impressive.
That was good.
Any other horse for Friday afternoon? Rixie or Dease? Don't have to.
I wonder if I had my eye in the collar tonight, maybe one for the future, a horse called Cabot Hills. He's Boydlin Eagles out of Peeping Fawn for Aidan O'Brien. He's in the second race. He's the favourite. He finished second on debut. I think there was 3 Aidan O'Brien horses in the race. He was the biggest price to them. Ran the best. He was beaten by a Jessie Harrington horse called Free Solo. This is when her 2-year-olds were winning every race they went into. So it's not bad form. Backed him for the Derby next year, and I backed him for the Guineas next year, just in case. I think he should win tonight. He's about 3.25. So if you have money left over after the day, have a little bet on him. Brilliant.
Have you backed him for the Triumph in 3 years as well?
No markers for that yet, Tom. No markers for that yet.
Get involved. Rixie, anything to add?
No, nothing really else kind of caught the eye. Like when I'm summoned to do these previews, I try and concentrate as much as I can on the races we're going to cover. So that is my plan.
Love that. You like these early starts as well. Rixie was after the 7:30 on Wednesday morning. He was.
So the world is a beautiful place at 7 o'clock in the morning. It really is. I need to see it more.
And we have to thank Jane Mangan for that.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Bringing out a new you.
Yeah, that's why I skipped that one, lads.
Right, best bets for Friday afternoon. I don't know. I might kick this off. I'm going to go Repartee in the Gimcrack. Is that fair enough that I did that?
Yeah.
Probably not. Dease, best bet?
Actually, look, I'll go for 10 sovereigns, I suppose, seeing as Repartee is taken. I think 10 sovereigns is the Nunthorpe for me.
Rixie, best bet for Friday afternoon at York?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dee. I'm going to take Deasy on and stick up Batash. Seeing as you've taken Repartee.
I love it. Thing is, we did this with Constantinople the other week, and it didn't win anyway. So there you go. Repartee probably won't win, and you'll be all right with one of yours. Lovely stuff, guys. Thanks ever so much. That's it for our final 2 days at the Welcome to Yorkshire Ebor Festival preview. Good luck with the horses you're playing if you're following us in or not, and have an excellent last couple of days. Bye for now.